Welcome. Thanks everyone for coming. I'm gonna mute everyone and we'll just get straight to it. All right. First number that I see up here is 708-872. 708-872. What's going on?
Doing, Mr. Muhammad? JC.
Hey JC, I'm doing great. How you been?
Well, brother, woke up today, man.
Good.
Okay, I'm gonna get straight to it. The first question is, let's see. Do you need to add trade lines and get primary accounts in order for you to monetize the CP?
Yes, you do. The reason why you can actually monetize the CPN is not necessarily by virtue of itself, it's by virtue of the history on it. And if the history on it has anything else that is monetizable, from there is how they create a derivative.
Okay, so it's not problematic. Well, it should have all those things before. Just verifying, it should have all those things before it reaches the point of monetization, is what I'm understanding.
It should, yes.
Right? Then the next one is, how does the CP connect to the BC?
The only way that the CPN can connect to the birth certificate, one, is if, under any circumstance, the holder or the secure party of that birth certificate is also the holder or the secure party of that CPN. The contract that originates any type of secure party position can be different. So if you have one promissory note for the birth certificate, you can have a separate one for the CPN. So long as the one who acted as the secure party for that note for the birth certificate that's being used as collateral in that note 1 is also the secure party for note 2, which is the CPN that's being used as collateral for that second note. So long as the common denominator between those two notes is the secure party, aka the one who is the lien holder and the non-UCC, aka your express trust. That's how you can link them. So long as someone is a common denominator. This is how you can link both of them. This is another reason why debts can be bought, because they want to link different contracts. So the note or whatever is being used as a collateral to secure a note does not have to originate from a quote formal governmental entity. It can originate from a private entity. The way that you can link both of them is by using the same secure party. And of course, the way the same secure party for both notes links it is through CDOs, which is UCC3.
Got it. So, okay, so could there be a situation where I do note 1 and just have the BC stated as the collateral? Then I do note 2, having the CP stated as a collateral. And because those two notes have the same secure party, which is express trust, that's how they're connected in short.
If you put those two notes into one lien, you get it, or do you need me to explain it?
Yeah, because I'm trying to process what you're right from just the note aspect, right? So in the collateral section, it will state the CP number and the BC number. That will be going under one non-UCC. I'm kind of confused when you're saying two notes.
Okay, so note 1, you have whoever the debtor is, and then you use the birth certificate as a collateral. The secure party is JC Express Trust, for instance. That's on one side of the ledger. Or let's just say one on one hand. On the other hand, JC Express Trust is the creditor, the debtor is the CPN number and the CPN name. or the collateral used in note 2 is the creditworthiness of that CPN. So now you did a UCC1 financing statement for the first note where the birth certificate is the collateral. And then you did a separate UCC1 financing statement for the second note to which the CPN is the collateral. Those are two separate notes, two separate liens. But now, if you realize that you need to link both together, which there are several reasons. I don't know what reason you have, but whatever the reason is, what you will now do is you will take that UCC1 financing statement and UCC1 financing statement for the other note. You would bring both of them together using a UCC3. The only way you can do that together using a UCC3 is because the secure party for the first note and second note is the same. So now on the back end, what you would do is you would consolidate it. You would basically merge it into tranches. But the thing is, if...
Got it. And this is...
Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, this is what we spoke about. This is what we spoke about in the last Tier 3 call. Sounds like the same explanation.
It is.
What I'm asking.
It is. And the one thing I will say is you should also, if you know you're going to do it that way, you should also create a financing statement that shows that both accounting has been merged. Because in the back-end portal, all they're going to just need from you is the UCC3 file number, and then they will want you to upload a financing statement that shows that the collateral from note 2, which is the CPN, is merged into the bookkeeping of the creditor, since what brings both of them together is the creditor. That's the common denominator. Because usually you can be a creditor and have 5 different notes, but keep them in different books. You're allowed to do that, regardless of whether GAAP is involved or whether GAAP does not apply. I assume at this point you know GAAP only applies to entities originating from the United States. So even if it's other things like the IFRS, even if those don't apply or apply, it doesn't matter. You can still keep different books. When you want to merge notes and collateral like that, internally you have to bring them into one book. That's the key that you'll be uploading. Privately, but publicly it's the UCC3 that you use for that.
That UCC3 really consolidates things and brings everything together. That's what I'm starting to understand with that UCC3.
It does.
Right. Appreciate that. Last question is, been doing some digging on FINRA, just kind of getting familiar with how it all works and all the prerequisites involved, which sparked this question. What is your specific role within the FINRA gateway?
The specific roles that exist.
That's too much of a private issue.
No, it's not. I just had myself muted. So there are different. So what determines the roles is called series. The SEC has something called series. Remember, the SEC and the FINRA are tied together. For those who are under Series 7 or Series 63, the role you play is limited to just licensure, like a financial advisor, so and so. But if you are not functioning under those series, then the role you'll be playing, generally speaking, will be the administrator. So the administrator has far more power to delegate or to add more accounts into the same, far beyond anyone required under licensure. So the ideal role that I like to play is just the administrator. Because when you think about it, it's as simple as administration of trust. But in this case, the fiduciary duty of it, since it deals with finance. So that's it. Now, the way that I do it is I more so control that role rather than actually be it. So I make the proxy the administrator, but I'm controlling it. That's how it's supposed to be. Because you never want anything to, you always want it to be without recourse. You never want anything to come back under any circumstance. And the good part about that is they don't ask for the social security number or any other personal identifying information of whoever the administrator is. It's the financial information they're looking for. But part of that financial information is the designation minute of who the proxy is.
Got it. Is now so because let's see what I'm looking at. It's the minimum. So minimum personal and licensing, and yes, the series, right? The Series 7, Series 79, Series 27, Series 28. It seems like you need two principals to kind of initiate that firm access, and then after that firm access, they can delegate representatives, kind of like you just explained. Going through the proxy, as you said that, which makes sense with the basic risk management. It's like you got to do some sort of live scan, talking about like submitting fingerprints and all this other stuff, and also you need to be licensed. So from my understanding, you either need to be a licensed broker dealer or a licensed financial advisor.
That part, before you move forward, that part is what I get other people to do. That's why I say you need an insider to do all that stuff. That's the reason why you need to contact certain people to give them the information you have regarding the trust, so they use whatever they already have in the system for you.
Because no matter which angle I look at this from, you're going to run into the licensing requirement. Makes sense from what you just said, the insider.
Yeah, that's why I have people in there to help me with that. I don't worry about that. That's why I pay them for that stuff. You know how much I pay them monthly for that?
Yeah, you can share.
$50K.
A lot.
So that is just based, and the thing is, if you look deeper into it, the SEC actually allows them to do that. This is how basically people can privatize their money without formally going into financial advisors and firms and whatnot. They get to know someone from a brokerage that they can establish a relationship with. And a legal document is established by the lawyer within that brokerage firm, preferably one that is not based in the US. Preferably one that is basically a vault. And by a vault, and I think I need to clarify this, by a vault what I mean is, vaults are basically managers for any trust property. And that vault is not necessarily just for monies or gold. It can be things like personal movable properties. Some of the companies is Pictet. The one that I use is Pictet and Lombard or Deere. So once you get the vault, part of the condition and benefit from it's like getting a credit card, and for every amount you spend, you get some point to offset whatever amount you owe, or to get for a hotel stay or for air mileage, that type of stuff. That comes with a vault. Once you get that, part of the benefits to it is that they can lease out their capacity and get you to use their same capacity for a fee, so long as you use their vault. So that's what that is, and they automatically just take that out from whatever the worth is, whatever you're making within your cycles that you've determined in the portal. Now, if you want to go through that stage, you can, but you need the liquid. So go research what the liquid requirement for those companies are to open vaults, and that will be how you can get your own insider, in case you're wondering.
Got it. Alrighty. Well, explanation. Appreciate the time. Those are my 3 questions. To Mike.
All right. Let's see. The next number I saw was 319231. 319231.
Hey Mohammed, this isn't always the one. I've kind of had like a crazy couple weeks, so I don't have any questions prepared tonight, but if I can email them to you sometime this week, I would appreciate that.
All right. Yeah, I'll add them to the type question and answers. All right. The next number I see here is 929354. 929354.
Hi, that's Amara. Good evening.
Hello, Amara.
You can hear me okay, right?
Yep, loud and clear.
Very good. So I kind of just threw questions together. My first question is still around my property that I acquired, but it's regarding the filing of my deed at this point. We discussed using a VPN, but with the registration process, I have to submit proof of ID. So that kind of does away with the VPN necessity because, they want my ID and my addresses on the ID. But my question is there any document or affidavit or item I could use to say, having to submit my ID, it should be used for the purpose intended only? Because you never know what they do with your biometrics once you submit it, and they keep it on record. Is there any, bill or anything we could use? Because everything is used against us. Can we use anything in our favor to say it's used for intended purpose only when I submit all my personal information into this portal? So it's the Georgia county clerk, and I have to create an account to submit the application for the deed.
Okay. So the first thing I would say is that form for the transfer, the declaration, it doesn't require notarization, does it?
Doesn't require what?
It doesn't require notarization. It doesn't require a notary to attest to it. Right?
It requires notary, yes, but with our correspondence, I did the verification for certification as a second option.
Okay.
Because so backstory is that I created the trust for my mom prior to her transitioning, and I went back like 15 years and we were unable to find a notary, right?
Yeah.
So I'm doing the verification for certification.
Okay.
But then it's required for me to file it personally.
Yeah.
It's required because some bills only through this portal. I can't do it in person.
Right, because you said they wanted an attorney to do it in person, which really makes no sense. But at least coming from their end.
Yeah.
Right. So what I would say is I've run into this issue in the past, so there are two options. One option is one document you can present as a proof of ID is something that's notarized regarding you, which is basically a document that says the notary knows you to be presented in front of them as such and such first name and last name. And I presented that as a form of ID because in order for a notary to attest your identity, or even a document, generally speaking, they'll need an ID. But this time you can actually create a document, just a very short, brief, one-page document that says that the notary has attested to your name, your last name, your first, last name, your age, or shall I say date of birth, and your address. And the notary will notarize it. And that itself should suffice as a form of ID. Alternatively, if you find that they say it doesn't, now in that case, you just scan it and put a PDF of it up there in place of the ID. Alternatively, if they say that does not suffice, then if you end up putting your ID there, you would attach a second page to the PDF of what you're attaching to the ID, or take a clause from the database injunction and add it to the bottom of whatever the ID that you're sending. Because the principles within the database injunction already covers this intent of yours, assuming that you cannot use a notary as a form of verification of ID itself. That's one of the things notaries are actually used for normally, to actually present identification, alternative to presenting the physical instrument itself. So assuming that doesn't suffice, then you can say scan the ID that shows whatever, and then you would take a copy and paste of a certain clause from the database injunction as far as identity goes, and you put it right under that, and you would scan that and send that in.
You said database injunction?
Yes, database injunction.
Okay, because in my reading it says that I have to present the ID with the identification number on it. So
yeah,
that gives me.
Yeah, so let me make this clear as far as the database injunction goes. So option one is you will go to a notary. You will put in first name, last name, whatever they're asking for, the ID, name of the ID, what state it's from, the ID number, date of birth, all that. You will list that in text. Then you will get a notary to verify the same, that yes, this is a true and correct copy of the ID known to me, that's presented to me today and the date of so-and-so. You will sign it, they'll sign it. So every credential that's on that same ID they're asking for, or at least the limitation of what they're asking for, we present it in the face of this thing that the notary is signing, with the exception that the ID itself will not be placed there with your face and all that stuff. That's one option. You can present that as the ID. Second option is you do scan the ID, and then at the bottom of the page that you're scanning it, so what you would do is take a regular 8.5 by 11, and then towards the half or the middle half of it, there is a phrase within the database injunction where you will copy and paste it to the bottom half, or the bottom 75%. And then at the top, you would basically put the ID there and you would scan that as a whole. And then that as a whole will be put into the system. Do you get what I'm saying as far as those two options are going?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Okay. Are you in tier 4?
3.
Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to speak about this tomorrow in tier 4, and I'll add that clause. But when I upload the tier 4, I'll make it available to tier 3 also, so you can have that clause.
Thank you. Second question. I have not filed tax return since I submitted my trust to CITUS. And prior to that, I rescinded my voter registration, because when I found you, I was on that whole situation about getting myself out of being a U.S. citizen, sovereignty, and all this other stuff. So I started by rescinding my voter registration card. I recently received a notification from Department of Taxation and Finance requesting my income, proof of income for 24 for a STAR program for homeowners, benefits and privileges. And I'm a bit skeptical, because I know once I start undoing something, things of this nature comes up trying to pull me back in, if you will. Do I have need to be concerned? Because it's a few things sitting on my table that I just have not responded to, have not submitted, only to try to not undo what my trust. Does that make sense?
Okay, so if I'm clear here, there's some type of program you're in that has to do with homeowner.
Well,
yeah.
I think it's automatic with Department of Taxation and Finance. If you're a homeowner, you're supposed to get certain benefits from being a homeowner.
Okay.
But I'm concerned if, and in addition to that, they sent me a voter registration card in the same envelope.
Okay. Well, the first
So
question. The first
Go
thing
ahead.
is, are you making any amount of monies that other people are creating a receipt of it to the state, like a record of what you're making?
Right now, I'm not employed. I'm not
Okay.
employed. I'm kind of yeah. But I think even with my my retirement benefit,
Okay.
I probably have to pay something for the state.
Okay. Okay.
But my concern is, should I be concerned with participating in all these programs with these administrative offices?
Okay. So for one, if there's some type of retirement, those are not generally classified as distributable income or gross income as relating to other types of benefit. So that's one. So say I'm getting a retirement income from what I've rightfully gained from time of working, and then I'm also going to get some benefit from some type of administrative entity, and they're required to know how much I'm making. That retirement amount is not considered part of a gross adjustable or gross income that could be taxed for that benefit purpose. So your retirement does not apply there. So two is, as far as the voters registration, are they saying you need to do that? If they're not mandating that it's a requirement, then no, you don't have to do a voters registration.
No, it's not mandated. It's not mandated. To me, it's just string, dangling a carrot in front of me. And I'm not sure if it's due to the fact that I rescinded my previous voter registration and the fact that I filed my trust. So my thing is, in my mind, filing my trust is kind of like getting me out of being under quote-unquote U.S. citizen, kind of, sort of. At least I'm on my way anyway.
Okay. Yeah, so what they're doing with that voters registration is it's just simple marketing. Since they see you're not an adult here, they're just trying to get you to come in a little bit more so that they could sell more information and corroborate things much easier. So no, it's just the marketing that you shouldn't fall for. No.
Okay. And last question. If I were to authenticate my parents' birth certificate, which both have transitioned, would I be able to add it to my property list in my trust, or would I have to create a new trust for that purpose?
So if you get a birth certificate for someone who's transitioned, make sure you get the version of the birth certificate that reflects that whoever that is passed away. The way that is shown is there's always some extra numbers on it. Either that, if the copy of the birth certificate that you're authenticating for someone who's passed away doesn't have those extra numbers, which will always stand out from any regular birth certificate, the next thing to do is to get the death certificate and authenticate that as the property. Because sometimes with the birth certificate, the birth record, they might not want to give anyone else a record that reflects the fact that it's been added to the death file also. But if you can get a birth certificate that shows the death file number, then you're good too. Because that's as good as the death certificate. Otherwise, get the death certificate and authenticate that and add it as a property.
And you know what? I'm sorry because I knew better. I know it should be the death certificate, but like I said, I just kind of randomly created 3 questions, so I haven't. But I do have both death certificates. So more so, should I be concerned with adding it to my property list on my trust? Do I need a additional trust for those, or a separate trust?
Right now, just add it to your trust, and then later, if you find that there's a need for you to do something else that's maybe more detailed, then you can always transfer it. But right now, just add it to your current trust.
Okay, very good. That's it for me. Thank you.
All right. Let me see. The next number I see here is 281660. 281660.
Hi, this is Vicki. I have some questions pertaining to, hey there, I have some questions pertaining to trademark. And then I had a question with reference to Amara's recent question, but I'm gonna stick with mine. With reference to the trademark, when submitting a trademark for the Inslegius, should the date be the same as the established date of the Express Trust or the DBA?
No, the date of you filing it is what you will put there. But the thing with a trademark is some trademark forms would ask you the date of use. So for instance, if you're doing it on a federal level, there's 1A trademark and 1B trademark. 1A trademark means you'd be using it in commerce before you even got that trademark, which is at best 4 to 5 years prior to it. So in that case, if you do a 1A trademark on a federal level, you will put the date prior to that application. If you do a state trademark, and each states are different, if your state doesn't have that option, then uniformly it will be the date of filing itself.
Okay. All right. And then also, does it matter if the Inslegius name is in all caps
No, it doesn't.
on the trademark?
It doesn't.
It does not. Okay. All right. And then also, what classification should it be listed under?
If you're doing it on the state level, 16. If you're doing it on a federal level, 45, 41, 9.
Is that just a matter of taking a pick of those, or either one?
Hey, I'm inviting you to come join the patron page. Not only do you get access to documents, posts, and videos that you will never find on any other platforms, you also get instant access to webinars that otherwise will cost far more. And we speak of things that usually we would not be able to speak of on any other platforms far more freely. On top of that, you get the opportunity to send me monthly questions.